Welcome in. Usually when we think of medieval architecture, we picture, romance,
Mhm.
castles, cobblestones, maybe a fairy tale or two,
Oh, absolutely. Knights in shining armor, that whole aesthetic.
right? But imagine a city engineered specifically as, like, a machine for control.
Welcome to today's deep dive. We are exploring Wayne Goldman's upcoming paperback release, The Shema and the Smoke.
Yeah, and our mission today is to extract the rich atmospheric world and the complex characters of this 1347 historical thriller, really just to show you why the setting is so gripping.
And we are doing this without spoiling the ending, of course.
Right, no spoilers.
Yeah.
But the starkest element you notice right away is the contrast in Goldman's world building. I mean, you have Carcassonne operating under the cold machinery of the Inquisition.
Yeah, pitted against Val-de-Grace, which
Yeah,
is this hidden alpine village.
exactly.
And that architecture in Carcassonne, it functions like a 14th century panopticon. Long before CCTV cameras were a thing, the city walls were engineered with these converging sightlines.
Oh, wow, right. Yeah, so a single guard tower can look down three intersecting alleys simultaneously. The slanted stone and the forced choke points basically ensure the physical environment itself is the warden.
So there are literally no blind spots to hide in.
None. You just can't escape the gaze.
Well, to enforce that kind of absolute physical control, the institutional church required absolute ideological control, too.
Which makes sense.
Right, and that is exactly why the peaceful village of Val-de-Grace is targeted. The villagers aren't, like, plotting a violent rebellion or anything. They simply practice what they call the way.
The way.
Yeah, keeping the seventh-day Sabbath and observing the Passover.
But wait, why is that an existential threat to the church? I mean, observing a Sabbath doesn't really sound like a military uprising.
It doesn't, but it is a massive threat to their monopoly on authority. By following original Hebrew texts and observing these specific practices, the villagers are basically bypassing the church's prescribed rituals.
Oh, I see. They cut out the middleman.
Exactly. In 1347, the institution's power relied entirely on being the sole mediator between people and the divine. So, the way proves people do not actually need that institutional machinery.
Which Bishop Valerius then classifies as a dangerous Judaizing heresy.
Yep, he has to shut it down.
So to suppress that kind of independent thought, you need a very specific type of operative, right?
Yeah.
Enter Micaiah. He is a brilliant Dominican friar dispatched to just investigate and destroy this heresy.
Right.
But honestly, I struggle to buy his character arc at first glance.
Really? Why is that?
Well, a guy entrenched in a 16-year career as an Inquisition enforcer, he doesn't just, like, flip because he reads a Greek parchment. I mean, cognitive dissonance is usually too strong, right? People tend to double down on their established beliefs.
That is a fair point. But what actually made him turn is that his absolute loyalty was never to the institution itself. It was always to primary sources.
Okay, so he's an academic at heart.
Exactly. His fatal flaw, and really his saving grace, is this academic obsession. When he finds that ancient parchment, he realizes the translations he has enforced for 16 years are fundamentally flawed.
Oh, wow. That is a heavy realization.
Yeah, but you are right. The text alone is not quite enough to break his conditioning. That actually requires Ileana.
Yes.
Yeah.
The daughter of the village elder. She is such a fascinating character.
She really is. And she doesn't counter him with academic theories at all. She is just out there managing the village's pure water systems, baking the Passover bread.
Right. She is actually living the text he has only ever, cataloged in a damp basement.
It is the difference between studying a map and actually walking the terrain. She forces him to walk the terrain.
I love that analogy.
Thanks. Yeah, her unapologetic lived faith disrupts his detached scholarly worldview. It shatters his rigid framework in a way an academic debate just never could.
Which, unfortunately for them, puts them on a collision course with two apex predators of the medieval world.
Yeah, the stakes get so high here.
You have the indiscriminate biological devastation of the Black Death, which is creeping up the mountain passes. And then Bishop Valerius is marching on the valley with the full institutional power of the Inquisition.
The setting becomes incredibly claustrophobic at that point. Goldman's sensory details are just amazing. The reek of burning titch in the city square contrasts so sharply with the supernatural cold breath of the Watcher.
Oh, the Watcher.
Yeah.
That faceless, shadowy entity trailing the bishop.
Right. Just dropping the physical temperature wherever it goes. It is honestly terrifying.
It really forces Micaiah into an impossible corner. I mean, he has to choose between the safety and prestige of his lifelong institution or facing the iron cage for the truth he uncovered alongside Eliana.
Yeah, it is a brutal choice. And as for who survives the flames, the plague, and the Inquisition, you are just going to have to grab the new paperback edition to find out.
Seriously, go get a copy. We refuse to spoil the climax for you. It forces this incredible reckoning between institutional survival and actual truth.
It really does. It leaves you thinking.
It does. We look back at 1347, and we judge the Inquisition for violently suppressing information, but consider the algorithms controlling our news feeds today.
Oh, that is a great point.
If an institution or a tech giant controls the flow of primary sources, do you really know what is true or just what is approved? Something to ponder next time you scroll.